Minnesota Wild pick up their fifth straight win and complete the perfect homestand by beating the Ottawa Senators 4-2. We break down all the action on today's Locked On Wild postcast.
You are Locked On Wild postcast, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, your team every day.
Welcome into today's Locked On Wild postcast as the Minnesota Wild pick up a 4-2 win over the Ottawa Senators, their fifth straight win and another win at home. Seth Topal joined by Kevin Gorg to break down all the action. And Kevin, I had kind of a feeling that this one was going to be a fun one for the Wild as Ryan Reeves out in warmups with the Santa hat and the beard, and a 3-0 lead going into the third period. It got a little dicey there with Ottawa, but the Wild pull off yet another win at home, 4-2.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to see Reeves pull that off. They walked into the rink together, him and Kirill Kaprizov in his elf outfit, which I thought was just brilliant. And these guys are just having fun together right now. And I think Bill Guerin talked about it when he made that move, that the Wild needed a little more personality. They needed some levity in that room. And they're back to who they were last year. They've got the tunes blaring. They've got smiles on their faces. They're playing good hockey. They're feeding off each other. And, I really like the momentum they've created within the season. It just seems like a different team from the one that we watched the first couple weeks of the year.
We'll talk about Ryan Hartman's return to the lineup in a little bit, but just like we saw on Friday, the top line setting the tone once again, 9 points combined on Friday and 7 points today, including goals from Kirill and Matt Zuccarello. That line is just, and not to throw Sam Steele out because he's been contributing as well. That line is just rolling on all cylinders right now.
They've got some magic to their game, and it starts with 97. I just got the email from the Wild PR staff that he reached 200 points today in just 167 games in his career, and he's the fifth player to do it since the year 2000. And the other guys on that list are guys like Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin. So, it's just incredible to see the superstar that is Kirill Kaprizov on a nightly basis. We're very spoiled. We're very fortunate, and he delivers every night. He's always had that chemistry with Matt Zuccarello. They practice together. They're best buddies off the ice. But I really have to tell you, I didn't see the Sam Steele thing coming. And I watched him during camp, and I thought he looked good. I knew he was a high-end draft pick for Anaheim. But this is where Dean Evason and his coaching staff deserve some credit because, I don't think that would have been an easy or an obvious choice to make. You had other players like Freddy Gaudreau. You could have used Matt Boldy in that spot and then used all your gunners on one line, but he must have seen something in Sam's game. It's been a great meshing, and you think about what that does for the team, what that opens up. Now that you've got Ryan Hartman healthy, you've got two legitimate goal scorers on either side of Freddy Gaudreau on that second line. Now, again, he's just getting back into it. We'll probably get more into his return, as you mentioned, on the show here today, but it does give the Wild a lot more depth by having Sam Steele not only, be the placekeeper in that spot, but thrive in that position.
One of the big things coming into this matchup was an Ottawa power play that had 9 power play goals over the last 5 games, and I think they had multiple in their last 4. And so obviously that's a daunting task to try to slow that unit down, but the Wild penalty kill was 3 for 3. That goal that they had with the extra attacker doesn't count as a power play goal. Kind of the same thing though, but still great work by the penalty kill once again today.
And I thought there were some critical points in the game. And I think the penalty kill numbers are always, they're just raw data. But I think within those numbers every day, there's a critical spot in the game. And I thought late in the second period, Wild just had climbed to a 3-0 lead. Ottawa gets a power play and really never even got into the zone and set up to attack. The penalty kill just swarmed them. And that's where some of the unsung heroes come into play on this hockey team. I'm thinking of guys like, Dewar, Shaw, these Merrill, these guys that are kind of under the radar that just get the job done, aren't going to be big point producers, but make those key plays at critical moments that get you through a game like this. And if Ottawa scores there, clearly we're probably still playing right now. We're probably in the extra session.
We saw Ryan Hartman, as mentioned, take the place of Sammy Walker, who was sent down. And I know there was a lot of reaction to that on Twitter with people wondering, why isn't Walker getting an opportunity to stick with the big club? This was always going to be the situation, though, when Hartman was ready to return, is that he was going to go into the lineup. He plays with Boldy and Gaudreau. What did you think of his return today to the lineup?
Well, I can tell you one thing. He's beloved in that locker room. So I think the guys were really excited to see him back in uniform and back on the ice. And I thought it looked like a typical first game back. Was it perfect? No. But he had some grit to his game, absorbed a couple of hits, gave a couple of hits, blocked a couple of shots. I think he'll be better as he gets some games underneath his belt. I think this road trip will be really important for Ryan Hartman. I don't worry about him, though, because he's such an intense guy. He's such a competitor. He loves to be out there in the heat of the battle. And I think, by the time we get back from Christmas break and play that game in Winnipeg up on the 27th, and then come back for a brief home game and then go to St. Louis on New Year's Eve, he should be up to speed. And so, I get the fans' angst. Sammy Walker played terrific. He's a great story. He's a sweetheart of a kid, and he'll have another chance. I mean, the Wild aren't going to go through this season without other injuries. And I think right now he's proven he can play at this level. And really, you can put him in a couple of different spots in that lineup, and he's not going to hurt you. So his speed will always be something the Wild will look for, and I think we'll see him back sooner rather than later. But right now, it's all about getting the right players healthy. And, let's not sleep on the fact that Hartman played all 82 last year, and he did score 34 goals.
The big story of the game today was the goalies. Filip Gustavsson with Ottawa last year, Cam Talbot with the Wild last year, now with Ottawa. So a two-parter here. Obviously, Gustafsson was sensational once again here today and continues what's been just a great season for him. But Cam Talbot got some love from the fans, and rightfully so. Didn't start today because he played yesterday, but great to see him get that ovation from the fans.
Yeah, just a class act. I got to tell you, I've been doing this job for 17 years, and Cam Talbot's right near the top of one of my very favorite athletes I covered because we did a lot of interviews. He worked his way and helped us out big time during the pandemic to do some extra stuff with us, gave us some behind the scenes cool angles to his position, and just a great asset to this team on the ice. He was a fantastic player for the Minnesota Wild, and so I was really happy to see the Wild show him some love. I really was hoping to see that matchup on the ice, but he's a veteran. He had played 4 straight. He had played the day before. I totally get that. Ottawa's here to try to win a hockey game, and they felt that Forsberg gave them the best chance to do that. But no, and then you look at Gustafsson, and, we had a chance to chat a little bit after practice yesterday, and I said, just another game tomorrow, because he had said that on camera. We were taping some stuff for TV, and he smiled. He goes, well, you know better than that. I said, yeah, I do know better than that. You had to say what you had to say. And after the game, I bumped into him. He was going to say hi to a couple of his former teammates down the hall, and he couldn't help but smile, and he just felt good about it. 6 straight wins. He didn't get off to a great start, but I really think he's benefiting from 2 people, Freddie Shabbat and Marc-Andre Fleury. It's like having 2 different goalie coaches. He's a young guy. He's 24 years old. He still hasn't played 40 games in this league, and he's a big mobile goaltender. And I think you're seeing right now him just start to scrape the surface. He's got a ton of potential.
Minnesota Wild pick up the win 4-2 over the Ottawa Senators. They now have 18 wins on the season. As we mentioned, a couple of road games before the break for Christmas, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a few other items to get to as we continue today's Locked on Wild postcast after a word from our sponsors. And today's Locked on Wild postcast is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 because it helps simplify your supplement routine every morning. With just one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Athletic Greens is lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's all you need. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Continuing today's Locked on Wild postcast, Minnesota Wild pick up a 4-2 win over the Ottawa Senators. They'll head on the road for 2 games against the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks. So, Kevin, as you had alluded to, an opportunity for the Wild to really go into the break on a nice run here, and 2 games on the road that if the Wild simply play their game, they should be able to do pretty well in both.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think the second game will be the tougher of the two, and you never want to assume anything when you head on the road. I mean, Anaheim played them tough here a little while ago in St. Paul, but the Wild are rolling right now. I think there are a couple of keys. You're going to see both goaltenders play. Let them kind of feed off the run that they're on right now because they're both red hot. They'll lead the way. And then you want to get as many minutes as you can with Kirill Kaprizov on the ice. And I think being that the Wild have 4 days off after these 2 games, Dean Evason can be a little more liberal with those minutes, because I'm telling you, every time that line is on the ice right now, something good seems to happen for the Minnesota Wild. So I think as they come into these 2 games, they're going to want to go out there and set the tone early in Anaheim, get a win against the Ducks. The Sharks are a little tougher, and it's a much tougher environment to win in, but the more 97, the better we're going to be.
Yeah, the more 97 we can get is always a great thing. And let's just talk a little bit about the historical the history that was made today by Kaprizov being one of the youngest players to get to 200 points in his NHL career. Also, I believe the fastest Wild player to get to 40 points in a season. We just continue to see record broken after record broken from Kaprizov, and it's crazy to believe he's in year 3 and he's doing all this stuff, and the future just looks incredibly bright for Kirill.
Every team, when they play the Minnesota Wild, the number one thing that their coaches are trying to scheme for and game plan for is to shut him down. Every single night, every single shift, he's playing against the best they have to offer. Checking line, top defensive pairings, doesn't seem to matter. This guy he's a magician with the puck. There's no off button. Like, the cool part of Kirill is I've been around a lot of hockey players in my years covering this game. He loves to practice. He loves to be at the rink, and he just wants to keep getting better. Like, he's most happy when he's out there skating. And so I think with this kid is, you as a coach, I'm sure Dean Evason knows this, but you just want to make sure every night that you're getting the most out of him because he brings so much to the table. And when he does, is because teams focus so much on him, everybody else benefits. And it's not just his line mates, but think about the focus that Kaprizov and his line gets. That opens up all kinds of avenues for the other 3 lines. And the Wild have depth of guys that can make things happen. And so it's remarkable to watch. As I mentioned earlier, when I go to when I'm working a Wild game or whether I watch as a fan, if it's on national TV, I go to watch 2 things. I want to see my favorite team win, but I really do end up getting mesmerized every time he's on the ice by just trying to watch him.
Final one for you, Kevin. Brandon Duhaime continuing to work his way back. Do you think there's a chance we see him in one of these next 2 games, or is the goal just to make sure that he's ready to rock sometime after the Christmas break?
Yeah, we asked Dean Evason that point blank yesterday after practice, and he said very doubtful for this road trip. He thought, after Christmas was kind of the target. He might get a chance to come with and skate with the team. He likely will get a chance to practice when the Wild gets back after Christmas break. But remember, that first day back is one of those unique travel days because of the players' agreement with the league. We come back on the 27th at 8 a.m. We hop on a plane and fly to Winnipeg and then fly right back after the game. So really the 28th will be the first time he can get a full practice in with the guys. And so you're likely going to see him close to the New Year or shortly thereafter, and that's fine. Right now, the Wild have enough tough decisions to make with who gets the ice time. When he comes back, there's going to be a very difficult decision to make. I don't know how they're going to do that, and I think Dean Evason will get there when he has to. We'll see how healthy they are at that point. I don't know who you take out of this lineup right now. Honestly, dude, I really don't know where they're going to find that spot, but it's a good problem to have, and they're healthy, and they're playing great hockey right now. So, all boats will rise, and everybody right now is happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, you can't be doing things much better than the Wild are right now. 5 straight wins and picking up win number 18 on the season today over Ottawa 4-2. That will conclude today's Locked On Wild postcast. Kevin, as always, thanks for the time, and we appreciate being able to break this one down with you. The Wilds will hope to continue their winning streak next week on the road, so make sure to tune in to Locked On Wild, and we'll have you covered every step of the way. Make sure you follow on all of your favorite podcast platforms and on YouTube. We've got new episodes every Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Sports Podcast Network.